Okay, hello everyone. We start. So, today is going to be very simple. There's no content. There's nothing special. But the holidays are coming, hopefully, and since you like it when the exams are painless, we give you a spoiler. We also like it when the exams are painless. So the goal of today is really to go as much as possible and to dissipate any ambiguity related to the exam so that you're only left with uncertainty, which means that the more you prepare, the better you get the mark, okay? So the goal is really to remove any and all uncertainty, ambiguity related to this and leave you just with do a good job, okay? The reason why we have everybody here is because we know there are going to be some logistical questions which are going to be applied for both courses, okay? So we really encourage you to take today as the chance, not the last chance, but the best chance to have questions. If you don't ask questions today, in the holidays, it is sure that somebody else will have the same question, they will not have the courage to ask it, and they will be left at dinner of the 31st of December thinking, I should have asked that question. Well, no, okay. Hopefully it's not going to be this terrible, but the point is really, share all questions here, no judgment applied in any way, shape or form. If you want to ask what is a battle report, you can ask what is a battle report. If you want to ask if this is the course of Analisi 1, you can ask if this is the course of Analisi 1. If you want to ask that if we mean 5 pages, are there 5 pages or 5 pages front and back, you can ask this question. If you want to ask whether midnight of the 10th of October, of the 10th of January is the 10th of January or the 11th of January, you can ask this as well. If you want to ask everything, okay? So really, the goal is, please, don't make it that on the 9th of January you ask us, but the midnight, is it the midnight of the 10th or of the 11th? Because the date changes. And then we don't answer because, I don't know, something happens and you're panicking. Okay? So this is what we want to avoid. Because you don't deserve this and we don't deserve this either, maybe. Okay? So I only have here a quick summary of the exam modes for everybody. So for the IBICT, the attending students, you have the battle report. You should have the template already. You have the mark on the class performance, and then you have the written exam. The written exams for attending students, there are going to be 2 questions, long questions. You can choose one. You should choose one. Okay, so you have a bit of an advantage for attending. You should answer in a long form, let's say, and these are done at all regular calls. You have the dates on S3, but we will refresh them later. So I want also to show to you how a question of the exam looks like. This is a question with the content of last year, so it's not a spoiler, so you will never see this year, but it's just to show you. It's a long question, okay? You can take some time to read it if you want, and then I will tell you one critical point. Okay? So, this is a question. Of course, we didn't cover the garbage can in the IBACT for attending students, so we will not be asking you about the garbage can. So this is a question that you will not find in the exam. But the question has a clear form, which is similar for every and all questions of the IBICT attending exam. First, there is a context that goes from here to here. Okay? This is an introduction that sets you thinking back to what we were talking about in the class. Then there is the actual question. Explain what is the ambiguity weak and why the garbage can be a way to represent this epistemological view. Give an example, real or fictitious, of a garbage can decision. This is the question. So, just to underline this, because this is something that happened last year, if this is the question, you answer to the question. You don't answer to the context. Okay? So, a 2 pages answer about certainty and risk, completely irrelevant. Okay? You will probably get 3 points out of 15. Okay? The question is here. If you answer to this question, even somewhat decently, you get for sure more than answering 3 pages of something completely irrelevant. Okay? So, read the question is the key point. For the non-attending students, the exam it has 2 short questions, 5 points each, okay? And especially, are there non-attending students of the IBACT here?
Yes.
Okay, good. At least 1, 2, perfect. Okay. So please, then, if you have more questions, you can ask us everything, and we will make sure that everything is written on the website as well. So 2 questions, you have to answer to both. Short answer, around half a page for each question, up to 5 points each. Plus, you have the individual case study for which we have provided the template. If you want, you can also ask for an oral exam, up to 5 points. The logic of the oral exam is that it's there to help you fix the mark. It's not a third part of the exam. It's there because maybe, you lost a couple points here, you lost a couple points here, you still want to have 30, so you can come to the oral exam and you can still have a bit more points. So up to 5 marks is positive. We don't remove points for the oral exam. So if you come there and you stand silent for 20 minutes while we ask you 3 questions, you will get 1 point, okay? Maybe because at least we appreciated that we saw your face. Okay?
Yes, that's 1 point.
Okay? So it's okay, it's there for you. It's not there, it's there because this way the threshold is higher, you can lose some points and you can still get a good mark. Okay? So I also have here a question of the non-attending exam, still on the same kind of topic, but again with a paper that you do not have to read, but this shows you the difference between an attending question and a non-attending question. Non-attending question is much more precise. Broadly define what sense-making is, and what does it mean when we say that the process of sense-making collapsed in the man-Gauch scenario. Okay, this paper, we read it in the I&E Basics this year, but the question is precise. You have a paper, if you have read the paper, you will be able to give an answer, which is going to be 5 points out of 5. Okay? Short question, crisp answer, you will get your points. So, some important points for the IBICT. First, reading the question explains the question, okay? So please, read before answering. This is valid both for the written exam and for the case study. The case study has a very precise guide, you can read it. There should be no doubts. If there are doubts, you can ask us now and we will fix it, but it should be pretty straightforward. So, we always put the 4 grading criteria that we have for everything that we evaluate. Correctness, so what you are saying should be true. Completeness, you should not just be saying a 1/10 of the thing, but you should be saying the whole thing. Argumentation, what you are saying should be backed up by some evidence or some reasoning of some sort, if evidence is not relevant for what you're talking about. And exposition, which means it should be in understandable language. Okay, so for us, English is the best. If English, you're not able to produce understandable English, Italian, even though we prefer that you write English. If otherwise, I don't know, French, Bulgarian, Russian, I think we can get there. Milena can read Russian. Then what? German? I don't know. But exposition, okay? So this means write in an understandable language, okay? For the attending students, we want to underline one thing. In this type of question, okay, if you answered to whatever was the example and whatever was the thing that we said in the class, and you copy 1-to-1 what was on the slides, you copy it here, okay, and you give precise, exactly what was written on the slides, what is written in the papers, whatever. What is written on the slides, by the way, is not enough, so it would be still a bit shaky, but what is written on the papers that we give as a reference, like 1-to-1, you would probably get 13 marks out of 15, okay, because it shows to us that you have not been critical in learning what we have been teaching. We said there's an element of critical understanding of this exam. If you give your own example, you try to show some reasoning, this is very much rewarded by us. And we tend to award and reward this, okay? So last year we had somebody that made to us an example about soccer, okay? It was a bit shaky. It was not incredibly smooth and perfect, but it was much better than just trying to repeat what you studied by memory in the paper. You get the wrong comma, the meaning of the sentence changes, suddenly that thing that you copied from the paper is 9 out of 15. The soccer example, it shows the reasoning. It shows why this person was misled. Maybe it's 13, okay? Because it shows that the person has understood what they're talking about, but they made a mistake, which is fine because this is a very new subject for you, okay? So as much as possible, don't try to repeat what you memorized, try to elaborate it. For the I&E Basics, the exam is 1/3 on the battle report, 2/3 on the presentation, okay? The presentation will be done at regular slots in order to avoid us collapsing after hearing 35 presentations in one day like last year. We have 3 days. We will circulate a doodle on January the 4th for the I&E Basics, and we will ask you to book a slot either on the Monday, the Tuesday, or the Wednesday, okay? For each of you, there's going to be a 20-minute slot. You can choose when to come. First come, first served policy. Unfortunately, there's no more democratic way to do this. So watch your email around January the 4th. We will send this to everybody. Why January the 4th? Because until the 3rd, we are doing reports. So we finish our homework, and as soon as we finish our homework, we give you just the slot. But the dates are these, okay? January 13th to 15th, February 3rd to 5th. So then we will need to schedule also the ones for June, July, and September, but these are the dates that are available here. Anybody that dropped out from the I&E Basics that did more than 6 or 5 absences?
Sorry, slide before.
Yeah.
Was it from 13 to 15?
Yes.
So 13,
From.
14, 15,
Yes.
3, 4, 5.
Yes. Okay. I&E Basics. Did anybody drop out? Okay, so not relevant. Key points in the presentations, especially, be mindful of the delivery. Okay, this was also something that last year was a bit was not apparently very clear. So, of course, you should be focusing on the content, the evaluation criteria. You have seen them already, but be also mindful of the delivery. So please don't come and read from a sheet of paper. Okay, by now you should have understood that this is not the best way to deliver a presentation. Also, help you with the logistics, okay? If you see that it's complicated, we have to ask you to come on time 20 minutes before, 5 minutes before to set up the projector, to keep the timings to 10 minutes and so on. Please help us keep this straight, okay? Right, so this is all from what we had on some key points that I had here. So now, let's have just questions of all types, any sort, and I would ask the note keepers to please take key points, key questions, so that we can then compile them in an FAQ or source. Yes?
Could you provide more details about the oral case study, how it works, how it works?
Okay.
I&E Basics.
Yes, of course. So, let me open this. Oh no, this is very small. Bad resolution. Okay. So, the format is a presentation of 10 minutes, okay? With 5 minutes of question and answer. You have some themes down here, okay? And these are in some sense primers for you to start digging into something. So let's take, because I don't remember all the things that I wrote, let's take this, okay? All the case studies have the same structure. There is a context. Sorry, because if the size is small, but this is the resolution of the projector. There is a context which is before the bold, okay? Which tells you what we are talking about. Usually this starts from one of the themes that we were discussing in the battle preparation for that battle, so something which was not directly exposed to the class, and digs a bit further into this idea, okay? So in this point here, we're talking about obsolete technologies, which can be refreshed. Yes?
Sorry, interrupt you. Can we choose the same topic of the battle?
So we encourage you to choose a different one, but if you think you have a good case, so we wrote something here. We invite you to choose, not to choose the same topic you did the battle on. This is an invite, okay? So if you think you have a good reason to explore one of these cases, because you had a very good idea and you want to dig further, absolutely, by all means, do it, okay? So this is not a strictly enforced rule. So, first part, up to here, gives the context. Second part, in bold, is your task. What we expect that you will talk to us about in your presentation. Okay? So in this case, oops, it's too low again, sorry. In this case, take an obsolete technology and show how it could be reasonably adapted to the contemporary world. Okay? This is your key theme, so you cannot misunderstand it for the battle topic or whatever. This is the key theme. Later here, we have some key questions that we think should guide you in trying to understand how to present this. Okay? We don't give you a specific format or a specific structure on how the presentation should look like, how should the slides look like, how you should put a narrative to this, and so on. You will be exploring this further in the BD lab on how to make pitches and so on. Here, for us, the learning objective is this. Learn to take the stage on your own. First, you took the stage in a group. Now you learn to take the stage on your own and to show critical thinking and analysis, even at a high level, on some key themes that we have covered in the course and some key topics in the area of innovation entrepreneurship. Okay? All right. Does this respond? Okay. Good. All right. Other questions? Yes.
And in the oral exam, we only discuss about this case study, not
Yes.
about the report or
No.
the battle or
No.
anything else.
No. If you want to ask us about more things because you see us there and you ask why not, I want to also talk about this. Yes, but let's stay in the slots. The oral exam is about the presentation. We will not ask you questions about this. We will ask you questions on the presentation. If your presentation links to a certain topic in the class, so you're in the presentation you talk about an obsolete technology, and to do this you're saying, this will be an open innovation carried out by Honda, I don't know, whatever, we'll ask you, well, I mean, are you sure this is an open innovation? Why is it an open innovation? Okay, so we expect you to be able to connect to some of the class topics. There was one in the back there, yeah?
Should we quote the sources we use?
Yes, we suggest that you put at the last slide some references. This is because, if you remember, we also covered this in the writing workshop, references have a value, they have a weight, okay? So you should be able to assign what are your key references. And if there is original elaboration, that's perfectly fine. Actually, that's good. But if you use references, you should be citing them. Okay? Yes?
How many topics are there, predefined topics for case study?
This is for the IBICT,
Yeah.
right? I will switch to this in a second because I think you had another question on the I&E Basics.
Yes.
Yes.
What makes an oral case study good besides being on topic and answering the suggested questions?
It has to be plausible. So we have been discussing the idea of the battles as an exercise of plausibility. Okay? So if you show to us that what you are proposing is realistic, okay, is well presented, is grounded in current trends, and you have some critical analysis of this, the case study is good. If the case study is just, I show you the latest new tech, is not so good because you're not doing a critical analysis of this and you're presenting something which is already here. Okay? If you're presenting a case study which is about teleportation, probably that's too bit of a far-fetch. It's not very grounded. So that's not super, let's say, plausible. If you're presenting a case study on, if you're going off topic, of course, that's also not very grounded at all. So the things that fail on the 4 criteria. So if it is not correct in the sense that it talks about something which is completely unreasonable, it will not be good. If it's incomplete, so if you're talking about AI and you're only talking about, I don't know, one paper about AI and you're excluding everything else and you're saying everything else doesn't exist, this is also not good. If you're exposing it in a not good way, so you're reading from a sheet of paper or reading from the slides, this is also not so good. If you're not showing critical understanding, so you didn't argument what you're saying well enough, this is also not good. Okay?
Can you better explain the plausibility part? Because, for example, in the battle of genetical modification and versus cyborgs, we focus more on what the technology is able to do, but we didn't focus a lot about if it is feasible or not.
So I still need to write the case study on the genetic enhancement, but I show you another one just to show you what I mean by plausibility. So in this one, okay, the page breaking is a bit bad, but I show you. So this one basically asks you to take a technology that you have seen in science fiction and think about how it could become a business product. Okay? So what does it mean here to be plausible? If you're following these questions, which ask, what shape could this technology take in our world? How far in the future would it be? What type of organization could lead its development? What are the main impacts that it would have? What ethical, critical concerns would it raise? If you're answering to these questions, you're being plausible. Because you will be able to, somebody will listen to this and they will say, okay, fair enough. Okay? If you're skipping these questions, your answer will be ungrounded. Because maybe you will not understand who is supposed to do this. You're talking to us about flying cars, but you're not telling us whether this is something that Fiat and the new conglomerate of Fiat and Peugeot does, or whether this is something that Airbus does. Okay? So, focus on answering key critical questions that go around this. Yes?
What if the case study doesn't go well?
If you do the case study, both for the presentation and for the written case study, and it doesn't go well, we encourage you to retry. Okay? If this goes well, but not incredibly well, we ask you the grace that unless it is vital, it is a matter of life and death, and if you don't get the top marks, you fall down of 2 millionth position in the ranking, because you are in a super competitive system, then of course we are happy that you retry. Otherwise, we ask you forgiveness not to keep retrying until you get perfect marks. Otherwise, we are here in 2022 and you're still retrying the presentation and the case study. Okay? For at least one of you, it will be up until 2022. Okay?
Is there just the presentation to do for this, or complete? Because I don't.
Just the presentation.
Just the presentation.
Yes. Okay, I want to now move to the non-attending and the predefined topic for the non-attending case study of the IBICT. I'm also writing these. My brain capacity is limited. So, by the way, we also encourage you to propose your own topics. So if you already have an idea of something that sounds sensible to you, please send it to us. We will put one topic for each battle. So there are 6 battles. We will put 6 topics. So,
There are only 3 now.
yes. So, as you can see here, this take a slightly different form compared to the I&E Basics. We also have a context here in the beginning, and then we have your actual task and the key questions you should answer. If you combine this with guiding questions that you find in the template, and which tells you where goes what, okay, you should be able to complete a good case study. What makes a good case study here is basically the same things that we have discussed about what makes a good presentation, except it is in written form, and it doesn't focus so much on plausibility, because it really takes a business topic and analyzes it. Okay?
Is it also possible to do the presentation also in June or July? Or
Yes.
is that okay?
Yes.
So every time during the year.
Every time that you want during the regular exam calls, you can do every part of the exam that you think you want to take. Okay?
Just for the sake of organization, note keepers from IBICT are taking notes of the questions for IBICT, and I guess I&E Basics note keepers are taking notes on the question notes. Cass is here?
No.
No. So today, no one is taking up the signatures?
There's no need to take signatures.
Today, Nick.
There's no need to take signatures.
Okay.
Okay? Yes.
Do you require us to dig into ethics questions?
Sorry, folks.
Is it required to dig this into, ethic questions?
Yes. There are ethical concerns. When they are particularly explicit, we put them in the guiding questions. If we didn't put them, but you think there are key ethical concerns, you should present them. We will never punish you for showing that you are doing more than what we think is the minimum, okay?
So case study can be of more than 8 pages, 7 pages.
Okay, on page limits. Page limits are, let's say,
5 to 7.
so here we say between 5 to 7 pages, okay? If you send us 8, it's okay. If you send us 14, it's very much not okay. Okay? So my personal peeve is that if we give you a page limit, going above 10, 15% around it, it's okay. More than 10%. So if we ask you 5 to 7 pages and you deliver 14 or 15, okay? 15 minus 7 makes 8. I will take away 8 points from the case study. Okay? This is not because I'm nasty. It is because your colleagues are following the same rules. Sorry, folks. Can you quiet down a bit? Thank you. This is because everybody is following the same rules so that everybody has a fair chance of being evaluated equally. If you write twice the amount, you're doing your own exam. So the person that wrote half as much as you does not have a chance to be evaluated fairly. Okay? So if we ask, respond in 1 page, respond in 1 page. If we ask a case study of 7, 7 is fine, 8 is okay, 9, come on, 10 plus, not so much. Okay? Yes?
The deadline for the delivering of the report is like the 12th of January.
So, oops, no, wait. Yes, this one. Okay, the deadline for delivering the report of the IBICD of the battles is the 12th of January, 23:59 Central European Time. Okay? Central European Time,
The first battle and for the last battle.
yes, is the same for the first and the last battle. Central European Time is the time that your clock right now says. Okay? If you want to deliver this later, in February, if the whole group agrees, okay. But otherwise, we prefer not, just for one reason, because otherwise people would be waiting for their mark for a long time. Okay? So if the whole group agrees that you want to deliver in February, okay.
For who delivers in February, can they attend the exam in
Yes,
January?
of course. Yes. Yes. So the exam is made of different parts. You can take the separate parts whenever you want. Okay? So if you want to deliver the battle report in January and then take the written exam in September, be our guest. There's no problem. If you want to deliver the first time in January, come to the call of January, and then if you don't like the mark, redo it in February, okay, fair enough. So any and all combinations are accepted. Okay? Other points?
About the questions that are going to be asked in the oral exam.
Yes.
I mean, in the document there are points that has to be addressed, but I guess that you are going to ask other questions besides the one that are. Yeah.
So I will give you an example. This is last year, so you will not see anything relevant. Sorry. Okay, this is one of the presentations. Okay, there are some points. This person is talking about a robot to assist reminiscence for patients with senility. Okay, so he's presenting this this idea. One of the question that we asked here, I think was, I have to remember because it was last year. Yes, it was about if he can do the same thing without a robot, and what are the benefits of using the benefits and the limitation of using the robot in this approach. Okay? So it's a question based on what you presented. I can take another one. I can take okay, it's another topic. Here, I have to remember what was the question. No, okay, I can remember maybe here, better. Okay, this was about, as you can see, like the impact of open innovation and in general innovation policies on achieving energy, sustainability and climate goals, okay? Here, there was a lot of graphics and a lot of projections and things. So you see all these points. So here the question was, what were the critical failure points? Because he presented a vision where things worked, okay? But the reality is that these things are not working so well. So what we asked is, what are the key points of failure that so far have stopped this from being the present? Okay? So these are the type of questions that we ask. And these are all good presentations. All right.
Do we have time to think after you ask the question?
Sorry?
Do we have time to think after you ask the question?
So you have time to think after we ask the question? Absolutely yes. But the question and answer takes 5 minutes. Okay?
So is there the number of questions limitation?
At the most, we will ask one question for each person that is attending the presentation. So there will be sharp questions. Okay? So, like, can you tell us one reason for which these climate goals were not reached, and why do you think this happened? Okay? So you think for 10 seconds, and then you can give an answer usually.
So usually only one question?
No, multiple questions. One per person in the jury. Okay? Which likely is going to be at least me, Milena, and then there will be probably a third person. So you will receive 3 questions. Probably. Okay?
I think, Georgiana, you and Cass had a question, but I didn't hear it from you. You wrote me on Telegram, and we said that we were going to answer here. It was the two of you making this question in the class about bibliography for attending and non-attending.
Yeah,
Please.
If the papers that are listed as mandatory readings have to be read also by attending students.
Okay, so webmaster of the IBACT, maybe can you help me then later putting a line that says the questions for the attending students are based on the contents of the class which means notes of the note keepers, slides, and the references that are said like main reference mandatory reading on the slides. Okay? For the non-attending students, the sources are the same, but we will go exactly on the mandatory readings specifically. Okay? So we find a sentence to make it. What does this mean? This means if the mandatory reading is, let's say, let's look at one. So I still have to put one more, but let's say the mandatory reading is this. Okay? So this is the introduction of science in action. Okay? And here we talk about the idea of the black boxing and of science constructed through negotiation by scientists and social interaction through scientists. From the attending student, we don't expect that you know this paper by heart. We don't expect it also for the non-attending. We don't expect it that you know specifically all the details about this. We will ask you a general question around the topic of this paper. If you look at the one that we had in the slide before, this is an example of a general question around the paper. Explain what is ambiguity weak and what is an example of a garbage can decision. Okay? This is a general question. For the same reading, the question for the non-attending student will be more specific. So it will be something like, explain or list what are the 4 streams that compose a garbage can decision. These are listed in the paper. They are point 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we expect from the non-attending students, since it's harder for you to understand how to connect everything at a higher level, we expect that at least you have read the paper and you're able to navigate through it. Okay? So in the paper of Latour, maybe I will ask you was the discovery of explain the discovery, the process of the discovery of the double helix of the DNA according to Latour. I don't know. I don't think I will make this question. I will make something a bit less specific probably. The difference between ready-made science and science in the making. This could be a question. Okay? So, non-attending, take what is written there, present it, okay? Attending, have a high-level understanding of what is there. Yes?
How many mandatory readings are there?
There will be 6 in total, I think, of the papers. Again, like the battles methodology paper, you don't need the paper. You can use the slides, honestly. Okay? This one is very easy, a very easy read, all in all, because it has a lot of pictures and it's very high level. This one also, if you have the introduction to the battles as a lecture, this will be covered by that content already. So, high level understanding. Okay? Guys, can I ask you one thing? If somebody is speaking to the whole class, be it somebody else, me or Andrea, please stay silent. In the moment in which nobody is speaking, you can talk to each other, it's good. But now, at least when somebody is speaking, please be silent. Thank you.
Maybe they were speaking among each other because they have other questions.
Yeah, but now there is time and they can speak and
Please
they can
make
ask.
them to us.
In the panel report of I&E, the score for everyone is the same, right?
Yes, for both for the I&E Basics and for the IBACT, the 2 teams, all participants that in the writing of the battle report get the same mark. The winner gets +1. Yes?
Do we know the marks for the battle presentation in advance, or?
Very hard, because you will deliver them to us 2 days before the exam, okay?
For the battle that we did in class for the presentation.
For the presentation of the battle. I think we can prepare them, but we will not be giving them, I think we will give them around the exam date, okay? because as I told you, so until the 1st, I think we will also be on holiday, sorry. Okay? From the 1st to the 4th, we will be doing reporting. So no after party for us, at least not for me, for sure. And then we will be doing all of this, okay? I think by the end of this week. As soon as I finish processing the admin, every time I find a space where I have creative energy, I try to catch up on some content things that I left behind. I didn't forget them. The point is really that I have so much admin that whenever I have the time, I go a bit forward in this. I add a case study. I keep adding on the ethics slides, which are still, I'm still writing them so that the non-attending case students can see the flow very clearly. But I hope by the end of this week. I'm working day and night, so I'm really trying to do my best.
Admin is always longer than expected, so this is a rule you should learn.
Case study presentation doesn't have to be separate. We present it the same day.
Oh, we ask you to send the PDF the day before, so that we put everything on the same computer, okay? And the computer is already prepared, so you can just come there, press the button, and everything magically works, okay?
The day before.
Yes, we put it here. Okay? So if you have a link to Prezi, whatever, send the link to Prezi, but also send us a PDF, so that if it doesn't work for whatever reason, you have the PDF. Okay?
Can we send earlier?
Of course. You can always send before the deadline. You cannot send after. Okay? Yes?
About the IPICT question, is there a particular format to expect the answer? For example, I have to define the main or the keywords in the question and so on, or you can just generally ask the question.
So, there is no specific format. You are free to answer. It's a free text answer, okay? So, if this is the question, you can give us your answer. We don't require you that you follow any specific template, that you do keywording, that you do mind maps, whatever. We just require you that I can read your text, and your text should be answering to me the question of explain what is ambiguity weak, what is a garbage can decision, and an example. Okay?
How long that will be? You said
1.5 page.
1.5 pages.
So we say around 1.5 pages. If it is 2 pages, it's okay. If it is 4 pages, it is not okay. Okay? If it is just 1 page, fair enough. Is it complete? Is it correct? Is it well argumented? Is it well exposed? If yes, 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 and yes, and you're able to answer in 1 line, congratulations. Okay? The maximum is to make sure that everybody has a fair chance of delivering the same. Okay? If you want to go below, be my guest. I'm much happier when I have to read less rather than reading more, especially if it is less and very well written. Yes?
How much time do we have
For the written exam, we give you 2 hours, which is a lot of time. Okay? So usually most people, I would guess, are able to finish this in around 1 hour. Okay? We give you 2 hours because we tell you one thing. This is not about managing time pressure. This is about thinking. Okay? So you have all the time in the world. If after, we can also decide that we give you 8 hours. I don't care. I don't care. We don't care in this sense at all. Because it's not something you can find just by reading on the internet. It's not something that you can find, well, for the non-attending students, maybe yes, you can just look up the paper and read it. But the point is, this is not an information retrieval exercise, okay? And it is not a race to the end. It's a point of exposing what you learn. So 2 hours. Yes.
So the presentation is like the battle report that we did in class.
What do you mean?
It's the same format.
So,
Similar. The presentation.
yeah, I'm getting. In the presentation, we don't ask you to do a battle report again. Okay? It's not a battle. It's a developing on that case study. So, if you go here, there are key guiding questions, okay, for each topic. In your presentation, if you cover these key questions, if you first give an introduction about what you're talking about, of course, and then you cover these key questions, this is okay. It's not the same as a battle presentation, because in the battle presentation, you're just exposing one view of a two-sided argument. Here, you're presenting a self-standing argument. Okay?
Should we build a narrative, present a narrative like we...
If you want, go wild. You can go as wild as you want. Okay? We actually are happy if we see interesting presentations. But you should make sure that what you are presenting is correct, is complete, is well exposed, and well argumented from a critical thinking perspective. Okay?
I don't know if this can help, but imagine yourself you are in a meeting room and you will be here instead of Lorenzo, and the presentation will be in your background. Lorenzo, Milena, and whoever else will be in front of you, and you have 10 minutes to explain what you have written, and it's up to you to underline something or forget about something else. So it's you convincing them that you made a good presentation, you made a good PowerPoint report.
We don't evaluate. This is an oral exam, okay? Oral exam means we don't ask you the presentation the day before so that we can read them and give you a mark, okay? We ask them just to arrange the logistic. The presentation is oral, okay? So the slides should be there to support what you're saying. So prepare the slides in this sense. So there's no need to write a battle report on the slides. We will not be reading it. We want to listen to you. Okay? If you have a battle report written on the slides, actually it's a problem, because it means you didn't understand how to keep the attention around the presentation. Okay? Yes?
Can we use part of our battle report to expand it and build a presentation?
Absolutely. Why not? If there is a point which is not thoroughly explored and you want to go deeper into this, of course. If it is not explicitly covered by one of these topics, maybe send us an email so that we can approve the topic for you. We say this here.
Yeah, I was thinking about the sci-fi thing.
Yeah?
That maybe can have been covered by some battle. And maybe you can take it and expand it.
Of course, yeah, of course.
Thank you.
As long as, sorry, just one thing, it may be obvious, but as long as the battle report doesn't already answer all these things and you're just presenting what you already wrote somewhere else, okay? This is double financing, it's not a good practice, okay?
You should also argument in a good way, in the sense that if you say that the battle is not strong in one part, it's not well developed or fully developed on one side, you are also saying that battle report has something maybe missing. I don't know if you
fair enough, if it is so.
So that's a double side effect, so you should be strong on that.
Yes?
If we propose our own topic, should it be same like how our case study was it privacy versus transparency or
Any topic, if you want to talk to us about the evolution of rules in basketball, please do, okay? We might not approve it, but please send it, okay? Yes?
What about the exam dates?
Okay, So the exam dates. So who here is in the IBICT, and when they go on S3, they see I&E Basics and not IBICT? Okay, who here is in I&E Basics, and when they go to S3, they see IBICT? Okay, so I asked the webmasters. Okay, same problem?
I see both.
You see both. Okay, so webmasters and note keepers, please pay attention. I will now show you my calendar so that you can also look about all my, let's say, no, not to look at my personal committees, hopefully, but just to confirm. So, IBICT, 10th of January, okay, is the call. If you see I&E Basics in the system, sign up for I&E Basics, but show up for IBICT if you're taking IBICT, okay? So these dates that we are telling you now are the ones in which we will be doing the exam, okay? If you come to the wrong date, you will not be able to do your exam, okay? I&E Basics, it's actually like this. Okay? 13th to 15th of January. In Exeter, you will see 14th of January. Okay? This is just because we put the mid date. Okay? Because the system only allows to ask for one slot. Okay? It's a fault in the administration system. You will receive on the 4th of January a doodle that tells you to book a slot in these 3 dates. Okay? Second call is I&E Basics is here. Okay? 3rd to 5th of February, and IBICT is here, the 11th of February. Okay? So these are the official dates. If you see the wrong exam on S3, you don't need to tell us, you don't need to write to the Secretaria, you don't need to do anything, okay? Just sign up for the call that is relevant for you, January or February, show up at the correct moment, okay, for the exam you want to take, and we will record your mark in the correct place, okay? The exams are mutuati, which means you don't need to change this in the piano di studi. So, because the exams are the same, just with 2 different names from an administrative perspective. So you don't need to change this in the study plan. This is automatic. The 2 exams are transparent to each other. Okay? But good that the numbers are not big. Last year we were basically everybody was mixed. So this is already one big step forward. Okay. Yes?
Biased question, but what about the evaluation for the roles inside the class?
The evaluation for the roles will be sent together with the evaluation of the battles. Okay? So the 1, 2, 3 of the battles will be also given for the 1, 2, 3 of the roles.
How is the evaluation of the roles done?
1, you just did the bare minimum and not even. 2, you did fair enough, what you were expected to do. 3, you did it very well.
3, you did it extremely well.
Okay? Mostly, the logic is that the 1 is for critical situations that in the past year we had. We had somebody that was a role and never showed up, or showed up just at the end because he realized he would get a 1, and he still got a 1. Okay? 2 is for people that are floating and are not doing their job so much, or that they are not responsive, they're not responsible in what they're doing, so on. If people do their work well, they get usually 3. But I would say last year was, for example, a 50-50 spread between 2 and 3.
We use also half marks.
When the situation is not so clear, we also put half marks.
There was also an interpretation of someone say, okay, 2 is fair, 3 is very good. So that's another way of seeing it.
Yeah.
And how do you phrase like questions? Like do you see what these people did during the
Internal discussion between us. So it will be the 4 of us discussing this and deciding who is what is the evaluation. Mostly what you delivered, how reliable you were in taking responsibility of the class, and I think these are the 2 main points.
Yeah.
Okay? Other questions? Okay, so I propose to you the following. First, of course, I think most of the questions are covered because we also heard the great classics. Like, if you say 5 pages, can I deliver 10? And this is a classic question, which is always the answer to this. And is the 10th of January the 10th? We have established this. Okay, so I would ask you this. We are still quite early. Okay, so. I want to send to you an evaluation questionnaire about the course. Okay? You will receive something similar on S3, which will ask you to evaluate how the course went and so on. The questionnaire on S3 has some problems. We can have a 2-hour seminar about the key problems of this questionnaire. But the questionnaire on S3 is a national one, so we have to deliver it, and it's still an important tool. We want to deliver you something a bit different for our own reporting and research purposes, okay? So I propose to you this. It's a relatively quick one. It asks you to log in with UniTN, but it is anonymous. We don't see the email that sent the answer, okay? This is there because you can change your answer later if you cannot finish the questionnaire or something like this, and to guarantee that we don't have duplicates for each person. So I would send this to you in the next 30 seconds, okay? And I would ask you if you can start filling this now, even finish filling this now. And in the meantime, in 10 minutes, we can reopen the floor for questions, okay?
Scrivi come Bitly, scrivi come Bitly, qualcosa così.
No, una mente.
Ah, lo dai a tutti. Ma pensavo lo facessi vedere a loro solo. Il suo chi è qua può rispondere adesso.
No, faccio rispondere anche gli altri. Okay, in 20 seconds you should have on your email the questionnaire.
You are allowed to use computers and mobile.
Of course. Non mi ricordo.
105.
Ma mandiamo un reminder dopo. Non so se è ancora segnato. Lo vedo in bacheca. Scusa.
Ho mandato una mail perché ho posto un differente
Io non l'ho ricevuto.
Sì, quella riguardo del...
Ah, sì. Ok, parliamone quando abbiamo finito la lezione. Ok, forms are open now. Come ti chiami? Fammi vedere un secondo.
Che mi hanno
A questo punto faccio anche una osservazione dopo. I resti qua è la cosa chiedere a tutti dopo questa cosa? Per i prossimi 10 minuti.
perché vado a fisioterapia.
Ah, ok, va bene. E sei a BSD?
Sì.
Dolzani?
Dolzani, sì.
Se non attendi.
Non so attendere. Non sai mai.
Dolzani, I&E Basics.
Non ti vedo. Ah no, sei in I&E Basics.
Sì, in I&E Basics.
In I&E Basics? Sì, nessun problema. Nessun problema.
Ok, quindi lo passo in comunico e poi...
Ok. Registriamo appena puoi. Prova a vedere se possiamo metterti a mano noi, se non possiamo metterti a mano noi.
Io che se si spiega anche posso farlo dopo per andare, adesso non posso fare, non so perché...
Vabbè, in caso forse non possiamo aggiungerti comunque. Ok? Guarda.
Che calendario usate con l'università?
Cosa?
Avete la versione di Drive? Il calendario che è
Google Drive, sì, Google Calendar.
Vedi che c'è qua, a 105.
Ah sì, è vero. Questa qua è la sala che abbiamo chiesto, non sono sicuro se sia quella.
Per cui anche il 10 gennaio sarà uguale, immagino.
Non sono sicuro, però era chiesto la stessa. No, 103.
103.
A gennaio abbiamo pensato che ne avremmo avuti di più, quindi ho preso una sala più grande.
Fatto bene.
Non sono sicuro che sia questa, verrà confermata, cioè in verità non lo vediamo noi.
È Michela che fa sta roba.
Quindi il 4 gennaio ci inviate un Google?
Sì.
Anche per febbraio?
Per febbraio lo inviamo inizi primi di febbraio.
Ah, ok. Ah, inizi poi proprio, cioè il 3 iniziano.
Ok, allora andremo il 25 di gennaio.
Ok.
Come faccio a sapere perché l'ho aperto per
No, basta che fai inviare.
L'ho già inviata prima.
Ok, allora è andato.
Forse è arrivato con l'email personale.
Ok, forse è arrivato l'email personale, penso che probabilmente sì, perché forse se ci è dato l'email personale non abbiamo quella studenti, forse è arrivato.
Dovresti avere anche lo studente.
Beh,
io
comunque,
come IT
nel momento in cui l'hai
basic
mandato
standard ce l'ho solo per sito personale.
Ok, allora perfetto, e allora va bene così, finché l'hai inviata va bene. Tanto non registriamo le mail perché appunto deve essere anonimo, quindi altrimenti...
È uguale,
cioè,
Un'altra cosa,
sì.
per presentare la possibilità non relativi come abbiamo fatto con il site, che abbiamo detto che avevamo società site.
Certo, certo. Se questa cosa arricchisce il tuo contenuto, perché no? Certo.
D'accordo, quindi praticamente il voto cioè io volessi inviare il 20.
Sì.
Quindi bisognerebbe fare quelle sue 4 cose bene.
Corretto, completo, ben esposto e ben argomentato.
Quando viene ben esposto, quindi è ben esposto alla legge.
Ben esposto vuol dire che per esempio fai una presentazione in cui si capisce quello che dici, perché magari non stai dando ok? Che stai tenendo bene l'attenzione, che si capisce che cosa stai presentando, che è chiaro quello che stai presentando, c'è una parte di l'esposizione, che è scritto in inglese abbastanza corretto.
Sì, ma le slide, cioè devono essere come abbiamo fatto con la...
Come volete, però devono essere delle slide che supportano la presentazione.
Non il contrario.
Se le slide sono piene di testo, non è ben esposta la presentazione perché non so dove guardare.
Quindi lo presentare bene, rispondere alle domande che
certo.
Ma oltre alle domande poi è possibile aggiungere più rispetto a quello.
Ma comunque sempre ben accetto, in meno va giustificato perché.
Più 10 slide, più 10 minuti.
Sì, è una buona linea guida.
Quindi non bisogna andare troppo di
No,
dettagli.
no, chiaro che no, chiaro che non ce la fai.
E poi ci sono 5 domande che si fanno nessuno.
Sì.
Ok, e poi nell'ultima slide poi bisogna il telefono.
Consigliamo di sì, cioè nella penultima magari, giusto perché se richiediamo ma questa cosa qua dove l'hai letta, tu puoi andare dietro sulla slide e dire
e casomai si può inviare un'email
in copia e carbone con tutti gli insegnanti.
Di cosa?
Quando si ha una domanda.
Certo. Tutte le mail, tutti quanti i CC.
Grazie.
Prego.
Mi manca da open
Ok, quella ce l'ho su.
tranne la sua che si già
Cosa sto scrivendo? Business modeling? Allora, business modeling, ups. Te le mando subito.
Sì, grazie.
Allora, ti manca business modeling di I&E Basics.
Sì.
Beh, adesso la metto sul Telegram. E ti manca, hai detto? Open and Closed Innovation. Mi sa che ce l'ha Milena sul suo portatile, perché non la vedo. Quindi devo chiedere a lei. Sì, devo chiedere a lei. Io non c'ero, per quello non so cosa... La chiedo a lei. Business Modeling te la mando subito. Ok, l'ho messa sul Telegram. E Ethics, cioè ho le slide di base, ma c'è poca roba. Perché manca, cioè voglio scriverci. Beh, intanto per I&E Basics posso mandarvela per ora. E poi vi mando quella giornata. Perché ci sono solo i titoloni, diciamo.
Sì.
Manca la spiegazione. Ok. Okay, so you're done. Take your time if you want. If you also have more questions that you thought in the meantime you want to ask them, this is a good time. Sì, quello che è molto qua, c'è un'altra cosa che è legata alla logistica. Sì, ma aveva un'altra cosa da dire a lui. C'era uno dei basics. Sì, quello dei basics. Diceva che sì, che non poteva Okay, so just one point that came before. Also a question that usually is not asked now but will come probably later. If you do not have the exam on your career, if you are still in the bachelor's and need to record it for next year, if you are from the past year and want to record the mark now and so on, all of this is fine, okay? So if you don't have the exam on your career, for whatever reason, we can add you manually, and if we cannot add you manually, we'll ask you the Secretaria to add you manually. If you are from the past year and you want to record the exam this year, it's okay, we will do it if you have your mark already. If you want to get the mark this year and record it in the future, as much as possible, we will try to do this. So all of these things are fine. Okay. Okay. Do we have other questions? Evaluate on a scale of 1 to 5 how clear to you is how the exam is going to look like and how slaughtered you will be. Okay.
You say 4? No.
Yeah, no, please, question. Yeah.
Some I&E Basics students, you said that we have 2 periods to choose
Yes.
for our application.
Yes.
How can we choose that?
So, how do you choose? I think this is especially true for foreign students. Thank you for pointing this out. How do you choose to which exam call you can show up? Simply, you sign up for the time that you want to show up for. So, if you want to come to June, okay, you just don't do anything until June. In June, you go to S3, which is the exam system of the university, and you choose to take the exam in June. You will see that there will be June, July, and September by that time. You choose to take the exam in June, and it's done. Okay? So you don't need to, there's no like thing where you have to select one. Simply, for any call that you want to participate to, you sign up yourself on S3. Yes.
Battle report still has the deadline we said.
Yeah, battle report, please, still in January so that everybody is not waiting for one person. Okay, so any further questions? Okay, if not, we thank you all very much for taking part in this course. We hope you got something valuable out of it. If not, please don't destroy my bicycle. Otherwise,
they don't know my car.
What?
They don't know my car.
Yeah, they don't know your car. I don't have a car, so it's simple. Just don't destroy my bicycle, okay? So, otherwise, we are 120% guaranteed that you will be fine, that you will survive this experience, okay? So, take a deep breath. If you have other exams where people tell you you will not be fine, you will die, you will suffer, feel free to focus your negative energies towards them. We wish you happy holidays, okay? And yeah, it was a pleasure.